Some people read a room the second they walk in. They feel the mood shift before a word is spoken, and strangers hand them secrets they've never told anyone. They sense things before they happen, with no way to explain how. There's a name for these people: INFJ, the rarest personality type on Earth, fewer than 2 in 100. And if even one of these 8 signs sounds like who you are when no one is watching, you might be one of them. Sign 1. People you barely know hand you their secrets. You felt this your whole life. People set their armor down in front of you without ever deciding to. The taxi driver who tells you about his sick mother. The new coworker who, by lunch, has told you things their oldest friends don't know. You give off a quiet signal that says, "You can stop performing here." There's science under it. Paul Ekman at the University of California, San Francisco, spent decades proving the truth leaks out of our faces in micro-expressions, flickers of real feeling that cross the face in a fraction of a second, faster than we can paint a smile over them. Most people are blind to them. You're not. So when a friend's reply lands a beat too late, or their usual exclamation marks go suddenly flat and careful, an alarm rings in you that they can't even hear yet. Sign 2. You see how things end before they begin. You shake someone's hand, warm, polished, all the right words, and underneath it, a smoke alarm goes off in a house that still looks perfectly fine. You can't name one reason. Months later, the reason shows up, exactly as you felt it would. This isn't a sixth sense. Think of a nurse on a night shift who stops at a bed and says, "Something's wrong," while every monitor still reads normal, and an hour later, it isn't. Same wiring. At the University of Iowa, neuroscientist Antonio Damasio sat people at a card game with rigged decks. Long before anyone could explain which decks were robbing them, their fingertips began to sweat the instant they reached for a bad one. The body cracked the code while the mind was still doing the math. That's all your intuition is, a quiet engine reading 1,000 tiny signals, then sliding the answer under the door as a feeling. Sign 3. You don't just notice emotions, you absorb them. There's a difference between watching a storm and standing out in it. Most people observe other people's moods from a dry window. You walk outside with no umbrella. You can step into a kitchen 30 seconds after a couple's silent fight you never saw and feel the air go thick, the room holding its breath. Someone else's bad day climbs onto your shoulders like a wet coat you never agreed to wear. Elaine Hatfield at the University of Hawaii called this emotional contagion, moods spreading the way a yawn travels across a room. Everyone catches a little, but psychologist Elaine Aron found about 1 in 5 people are built highly sensitive, feeling the world turned up louder than everyone around them, and that's where you live. It's why 10 minutes with a radiant friend refills you, and 10 near a bitter one leaves you scraped empty, carrying a weight home that was never yours. Sign 4. Small talk drains you. One real conversation keeps you up till sunrise. Drop you at a party and watch it happen. The small talk starts. Weather, traffic, who's dating who, and something in you powers down, like a phone slipping to its last 2%. Then you find the one person sitting apart from the noise, and 3 hours vanish while you talk about death and God and the thing they've never said out loud, and suddenly it's 2 a.m. and you're more awake than you've been all week. Shallow talk just feels like chewing without ever swallowing, and there's research on this. Matthias Mell at the University of Arizona clipped tiny recorders to people for days and caught real fragments of their conversations. The happiest people had nearly double the deep talks and a fraction of the small talk of the unhappiest. You don't collect acquaintances, you mine for the few worth digging all the way down to. That's why your circle is small and almost impossible to break. Sign 5. Your richest life happens inside your own head. Here's one most lists skip. You can build a whole cathedral in your head, the perfect project, the perfect words, the perfect version of you, every arch in place, every window glowing, and then never lay a single brick because the real thing could never match the one already finished in your mind. Personality theorists call this the NITI loop, a soaring vision and a ruthless inner critic locked in the same room, talking each other out of every move. It's the same wiring that has you awake at 2 a.m., replaying a conversation from 3 years ago, editing what you should have said to someone who forgot it ever happened. That inner world is the workshop where all your ideas are born, but leave the door shut too long and it becomes the graveyard where they're buried. Sign 6. You give until your own tank is empty. You'll be running on fumes, the kind of tired where your own bed feels like a finish line, and someone you love will reach out hurting and you'll hand over the last of your energy without a second thought. You take the heavy end of every load. You start helping before the sentence is even finished. Helping isn't a habit for you, it's how you find meaning, like someone who can't walk past a wound without reaching for it. But researchers have a name for when it tips too far: pathological altruism. Kindness that slowly bleeds the one giving it. Give like that and you don't attract people who give it back. You attract the ones who treat your warmth like an open tab, taking, smiling, and circling back for more. And then one day you go quiet and shut someone out forever. This is the one that stuns everyone around you. For months, sometimes years, you're the patient one. You forgive, you explain it away, you hand the same person a 10th chance with a straight face. And then one ordinary day, a line gets crossed, and something inside goes dark. No shouting, no final speech. The door that was always open for them is just bricked shut overnight, and it never opens again. The typology world calls it the door slam, but the mechanism is real. Family therapist Murray Bowen described emotional cutoff. When staying connected to someone costs more than a person can survive, they protect themselves by going completely, permanently cold. Your silence isn't a sulk waiting for the right apology. It's a vault closing. What's left of someone who gave everything, finally keeping the last of what they have. Sign 8. No matter how good life gets, you feel you're here for something bigger. And here's the deepest one. You can build a life that looks complete from the outside, the job, the people, nothing actually broken, and still hear a small voice underneath, asking, is this it? You felt half a step out of sync with the world for as long as you can remember, like everyone got a manual you never received. Psychologists Roy Baumeister and Mark Leary showed humans are wired with a deep need to belong. So when you're this rare, that faint, not quite fitting is almost the cost of being built differently. But that restlessness isn't a flaw to fix. It's a compass that won't sit still until it's pointed at something that matters. The same quiet fire people see in figures so often tied to this type. Mandela, Martin Luther King, Gandhi. They didn't move the world by being the loudest in the room, but by feeling it more deeply than anyone and refusing to look away. Your sensitivity was never the soft spot they called it. It was always a navigation system, waiting for a destination worth its depth. So, if you saw yourself in most of these, here's what no one tells you. Every one of these traits is a blade that cuts both ways. Left alone, they leave you drained, misread, and quietly exhausted. Aimed on purpose, they become almost unfair. Here's how to turn the edge outward. First, guard your energy like it's the last bar on your battery, because most days it is. You absorb everything, so protecting your peace isn't selfish, it's survival. Learn to say no without stabling an apology to it. Second, feed your intuition real life. That gut of yours is only as sharp as the experiences you hand it. Stop rehearsing your life in your head and go live a few messy chapters of it. Third, trade perfect for finished. That perfect version in your mind has buried more of your ideas than failure ever could. Ship the rough draft. A real, imperfect thing always beats a masterpiece no one will ever see. And fourth, say what you need out loud before your silence says it for you. You read everyone in the room, but no one can read you. Half the doors you've quietly bricked shut could have stayed open with one honest sentence. Do that, and the sensitivity you were once told to hide becomes the exact thing that makes you impossible to replace. If even one of these signs felt like it was describing you, tell me which one hit the hardest. I read every single one. Subscribe, and let's keep decoding the human mind together. See you in the next one.